There are a lot of things that need to improve coming out of the Tennessee Titans' first preseason game of the year, but number one on that list is Cam Ward. I'm going to tell you what else is on my list. Wake up, Titans fans. It's time for the Sleeper Titans podcast. So on today's show, what I want to do is continue breaking down the Tennessee Titans' first preseason game of the year against the San Francisco 49ers. But I also want to dive into what the schedule holds for the Titans as the Seattle Seahawks come to town. Again, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, 27 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. I've covered the team for USA Today, Sports Illustrated, host the Locked On Titans podcast, host the Tic Tac Titans film channel, all of that good stuff. But again, with that being said, three things that must improve for the Tennessee Titans. I'm also going to do three things that I'm excited about and three things I'm not quite sure about yet. But number one on that list, again, is Cam Ward. He has to be better. And I think the most disappointing thing about Cam Ward's performance is how Brian Daboll tried his best to make it easy for Cam Ward. Brian Daboll did everything in his power to let Cam Ward have some easy throws, gain some confidence, get in a rhythm, gain some momentum. Like literally the entire game plan was on easy mode. We're going to run the ball with success. We're going to give you some quick outs. We're going to do some simple RPOs. We're going to give you some quick rhythm throws. Again, just to get that confidence going, just to get that momentum going for Cam Ward. And he still wasn't able to do it. It wasn't only not able to do it, it was a complete failure to even launch for Cam Ward. He never got in that rhythm. He never was able to hit those easy throws that Brian Daboll was trying to get going. So that has to be better. I mean, I know we talked about it enough, but that has to improve because if Cam Ward is going to play at that level for the Titans, number one, they're not going to be able to win very many games. And number two, Cam Ward's not going to be the quarterback for very long. Now, him bouncing back, Saturday's practice, 5 touchdowns, 3 straight in the red zone, hitting deep balls, completing a bunch of passes. Like, that is what you wanted to see from Cam Ward. That's the bounce back that you wanted, but it's not just what we want. It's what's absolutely necessary. If Cam Ward doesn't bounce back and play better than what we saw, then the Titans are going to be in trouble. But I fully do believe that Cam Ward will be improved, that Cam Ward will play better, that Cam Ward will turn it around. And as I've talked about in my other content, I've talked about he's a gunslinger, folks. It's not going to be pinpoint accurate all the time. It's about having more good than bad in that realm with Cam Ward. But the other thing that must improve for the Tennessee Titans is the play of the secondary. Now, here's the problem. Where I'm confident that Cam Ward will play better. Cam Ward will play better than what he played. I don't know if the cornerbacks, if the Titans secondary is going to play much better. Amani Hooker is slow-footed now, guys. Amani Hooker is not quick. So he's going to be out there on an island. He's going to be roaming back deep, trying to stop the deep ball. If he's going to be playing man coverage on anybody, it might be difficult. I think that Amani Hooker's best days are when he's playing intermediate zones over the middle of the field, which Robert Saleh likes to do in his cover 3. He'll have 2 safeties up top. One of them will come down into the middle as a middle hook defender, which I think is where Amani Hooker is at his best. Or if the Titans run cover 1 robber, where they have 2 safeties deep, one of them takes deep, one of them is the middle zone player in the intermediate area, and everybody else is in man. I guess that could be an area where Amani Hooker could do some good work, but I am a little bit worried. But the cornerbacks are a bigger concern, and I talked all summer about the quiet concern that was the secondary, so I'm really not that shocked. Cordell Flott, to me, was just a mid-level player. And quite honestly, $15 million a year, the top cornerbacks in the NFL are making $35 million per year now. So $15 million per year for a cornerback, I don't think that's that bad. My problem is Tyreek Woolen went for up to $15 million on a 1-year deal to the Eagles. I would rather have Tyreek Woolen than have Cordell Flott. And he's 6'3" with long arms and ball skills and great speed. Like, that's a guy that I would feel more confident in than Cordell Flott. Watch, Tyreek Woolen is going to have an awesome year for the Eagles, and we're all going to be like, But I did want Alontae Taylor, and I don't think Alontae Taylor is a problem. I think Alontae Taylor is going to be fine in his role. He's getting paid $20 million per year. Again, the top cornerbacks in the league are making 30, 35. The market just reset. I don't think Alontae Taylor's being paid too high a price for the level of play that he's going to be at. But Cordell Flott does make me worry. As the field corner, he's going to have a lot of space between him and the wide receiver. He's not going to be a guy who presses a ton when they play their zone coverages. And he's not super physical. He's not overly big, strong. So, when those curls happen, those 10-yard curls, those 12-yard curls, where it's 3rd and 10 and they're just going down and then sitting down, is Cordell Flott going to be tight up enough against that wide receiver to be there to make a play on the ball? Is he going to be physical enough to win a battle with a wide receiver for the ball? He got murked by De'Zhaun Stribling for most of that game. So it does make you wonder. And with Marcus Harris, I've talked about Marcus Harris in the slot, running unopposed at slot cornerback. They didn't bring in Kenny Moore, which is my first video I ever made on this channel, was saying the Titans need to bring in Kenny Moore. They never did. They never brought in any veteran competition for Marcus Harris. And we have just assumed all season, because the Titans coaches, I've seen it in the comments. Every time I doubt Marcus Harris, everybody just tells me how the coaches have been hyping him up. And coaches have hyped up players who didn't work out before. So Marcus Harris, at the end of the day, is a 6th-round rookie cornerback. Coming off of last year, had a knee injury. Now he's in year 2, new system. We don't know that Marcus Harris is going to be a good cornerback. Alontae Taylor's moving from mostly slot to mostly outside. That's risky. And I've said this a few times lately, but L'Jarius Sneed was considered a better player than Alontae Taylor or Cordell Flott was considered when the Titans signed them. And L'Jarius Sneed didn't work out. So there's no guarantee that Flott or Taylor or Harris, for that matter, will be any good. Cornerback could be the Titans' #1 need by this time next year. It would suck for that to be the case. That would be a disaster after spending $35 million per year on the cornerback position. That would suck, but that might be where we're at. And let's be real too. Kevin Winston has a ton of talent, but his deficiencies are route awareness, coverage awareness, and in Robert Saleh's system, it should be pared down for him and simpler for him. But I don't know that it's going to work. And I've already talked about Amani Hooker. So again, the secondary has to get better. And I know that the players aren't going to get better, but their familiarity in Robert Saleh's system and what's asked of them, and as the game plans actually kick in where they're doing specific things on specific receivers, I'm hoping that makes the secondary a little better. And if John Franklin Myers and Jacob Martin come back, that can help the pass rush. We'll talk about the pass rush here in a second. But the last thing that needs to be improved is Cody Barton. Cody Barton on the film missed the sack because he's not as good of an athlete. He loses control. He's not as poised when he's on the move going forward. And then he missed out on an interception where the Titans ran a trap play that should have been a zone play. He's just not a good enough athlete to be a starting linebacker in the NFL right now. And he's certainly not a good athlete to do what's being asked of him in Robert Saleh's defense as the Mike linebacker. Like, he can't get back in the hole quick enough. He's not going to get those little trap pressures to try to get interceptions when he's being asked to blitz and line up on the edge and do that like Saleh's Mike linebacker spot is. He's not going to be able to put enough pressure on the quarterback. He's just not the same kind of player that James Williams and Anthony Hill are. He doesn't have the downhill violence. He doesn't have the twitch and the speed and the athleticism. He just doesn't. So eventually, he's going to get passed, because we need improvement from that spot. Now, 3 things that I'm excited about going forward. The offensive line. I know that Dan Moore did a bad job on the stunt and Cam got hit and it turned out to be a penalty which bailed him out. I know that happened, but Dan Moore's solid. He's just average, which is a mighty improvement over the last few years of what we've gotten. We know that Skoronski's awesome. Schlotman will be fine. He's not going to be great, but he'll be fine inside. Carmona looked good. He was moving bodies. double teams with JC Latham at the line of scrimmage, pulls, one-on-one drive blocks, negotiating stunts in pass protection, one-on-one blocks in pass protection, finding work when he doesn't have an immediate assignment in pass protection. I thought Carmona was impressive. And the one time Cam Ward did get hit, Carmona sprinted back to the quarterback to help get him up off the ground. He is a lineman's lineman. I'm very excited about Fernando Carmona. JC Latham has been dominant for a week now. Whether it's in practice for the Titans, in the joint practice, in the game, in practice on Saturday, Latham's been dominant for a week. It may be clicking for JC Latham. It may be clicking. And I put a lot of pressure on Latham. So, I'm going to be honest here. Very excited about the O-line. And Brendan Crenshaw-Dixon, the second-year undrafted free agent out of Florida, offensive tackle, he was impressive in the preseason game. I thought he was awesome. So I don't think he's going to be good enough to take over for Dan Moore by this time next year, but I'm not saying it's impossible. At minimum, he could be a good swing tackle for the Titans for the next, 4 or 5 years. I think that's a real outcome with Brendan Crenshaw-Dixon. Now, outside of the O-line, though, the wide receivers. So excited about the wide receivers. I mean, they all looked good. Tate got open. Io Manor got open. Wandale was open and used correctly. Calvin Ridley even did a little something as a role player. Xavier Restrepo just kept getting open. He only got the ball a couple times. He got a couple catches, but he just kept getting open. And to see him run with the second string in the slot on the Titans' unofficial depth chart, I believe it was Chim DK, who is the backup slot. I don't think that's true. I mean, DK can run slot, but I think Restrepo is the true backup slot to Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's much more akin to Wan'Dale Robinson's skill set as a player. I think Xavier Restrepo, I'm starting to get excited that he might actually make the team. I'd go back and forth all the time, but I'm starting to feel good about it. Now, my last thing that I'm excited about is Brian Daboll. Watching Brian Daboll's vanilla offense, varied run game with gap runs. That means like pulls, double teams, power, counter, duo, zone runs. Titans ran a couple mid-zone runs as well. He's got an answer for every kind of front. If you're going to stack the line of scrimmage because you don't want us to run zones and double teams and combo blocks up to the second level, then we're going to run power on you. And we're going to have you come up the field. We're going to kick out with pullers, double team. If you want to leave the line of scrimmage open because you don't want to deal with the double teams, we're going to go into zone blocking and have free access to the second level. They're going to have an answer for everything. Play action passing from under center keeps the defense off balance and marries well with the run game. And then he had a ton of RPO concepts. On the throw in the end zone to Carnell Tate, the out route, that was a three-pronged RPO where Cam could hand it off to the running back, throw the bubble screen to the left to Wan'Dale Robinson, or throw the quick out to Carnell Tate on the right. That is a three-option RPO. And it is just stock, standard, vanilla, base RPO in Brian Daboll's offense. So, under center run plays and play action passing, varied run game to attack any front, RPO game for quick, easy hits to take advantage of the defense, and hopefully when Cam's playing better, get him easy, confident throws. Very excited about Brian Daboll's offense. Now, three things I don't know. The pass rush. I know the Titans were missing John Franklin Myers. I know that the Titans were missing Jacob Martin. John Franklin Myers, $20 million per year, him and Jeff together. That's what this entire defense was built on. That was the idea, is those two guys on the interior are going to be dominant. It's going to open things up for the edge rushers. It's going to create havoc in the backfield, making it easier on the secondary to cover. And then it tamps down the issues and concerns with the secondary. It tamps down the issues and concerns with the edge rushers. It's the domino that all other dominoes are waiting for, is that interior. So not having John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons not playing more than what the first drive, that has an effect on everything and has an effect on the pass rush. But Jermaine Johnson, not that effective as a pass rusher in a couple of different pass rush chances. Jeffrey Simmons got double teamed the whole time. They didn't have anybody else who was making any kind of pressure. Keldrick Falk, Femi Oladipo showed progress, but nowhere near close to being impact rushers in week one. So if Jermaine Johnson is just okay, you're not getting impact from Femi or Falk consistently early on. Jacob Martin is so important that his absence is a problem. If the Titans are going to rotate the defensive line like they say they are, 3 plays, then that means everybody's got to be better, not just Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers every single time. So I think it's fair to wonder whether this pass rush is quite good enough to do the defensive philosophy. And that is why I wonder if Saleh's scheme is going to show enough dividends early on. His scheme is purely based on talent. We're not going to disguise. We're not going to confuse. We're not going to try to trick the offense. We are going to line up and we're going to beat you with talent. We're going to beat you with talent and execution. Our guys are better than your guys. Our guys execute the plan better than your guys. Yeah, we don't confuse you. We don't trick you. We don't disguise coverage. We don't do zone blitzes and all these different things. But we're just better. And that works when you have the Legion of Boom Seahawks. That works when you have the 49ers. I don't know if that's going to work right away when you have the Titans. So I'm just wondering if Saleh's scheme on defense is going to pay as much dividends this year as it may next year when people know the system better. They've got talent to match the system a little bit more. Again, another offseason to add that talent. I don't know. That remains to be seen. And the final thing is the reps. The reps in the preseason. I'm all for getting big reps in. Like, I think Cam Ward should be playing 3 or 4 series. But Robert Saleh's making it seem like the starters are going to play the first half against Seattle. And then they're going to play past halftime in the final game. I think that's a bit too much. Cam Ward got 3 drives in this first game. Give him 4 drives. Middle of the second quarter, he's out. Final game, he gets the whole first half. But playing after halftime into the third quarter with the first string offense, again, I'm all for warming up and getting ready, but that's playing with fire. That's a bit dangerous to me. That much time in the preseason. So smack my microphone. Gets me a little worried. So just want to see if he really holds himself to that, or if it's like, let's say the first string offense comes out and they do very well. Maybe they only play 3, 4 drives, something like that. But I don't know. It's something that in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. And every Titans fan will be like, yeah, they need to play. But like into the third quarter, very risky. Very risky. Either way, so much coming up this week. Huge schedule ahead. The Titans have practice today on Monday. They have practice on Wednesday, and then joint practice on Friday with the Seattle Seahawks before Sunday Night Football preseason game against Seattle as well at home in Nissan Stadium in Nashville. But I'm going to be here to break it all down with you guys all week long. Again, make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. I'm going to have free year-round Tennessee Titans additional content here on the Sleeper Titans podcast. We're already over 600 subscribers. The channel is blowing up pretty quick, so make sure that you invest early. But that's going to do it for today's episode of the Sleeper Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and as I tell you guys every single episode, tighten up.